Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Playable Worlds and another Fireside chat. I'm Rick. This is Dave. We are looking forward to amusing you this morning while also telling you about new stuff in the game. We named this new patch Better Homes and Gardens. And you'll have fun with it here as we go. Dave, how you doing this morning? Dave, I can't hear you. All right, I do.
Doing well.
Okay, there, that's better. Okay, good.
We have an echo, don't we?
You don't want to, you want to be muted in the Video Ninja thing and only be talking through Discord.
I am. I think you're not. I am.
My Twitch is muted. Oh. All right, let's try that. Okay, I fixed it. Sorry, guys.
We're still going.
All right, I closed it. I can't watch Twitch chat, so you'll have to tell me. Oh, wait, maybe I have Twitch open multiple times. Wait a second. Why would I do that?
That echo is amazing. It's me?
Mute Twitch.
There's no. Oh, that's fun. Can't mute Twitch. All right, go for it. Is that better?
How's that? Okay, better.
All right.
Let's see what the guys say.
Now I know.
Okay. All right. So this patch actually came out on Thursday. We've deployed it for the first folks to try on Thursday afternoon. Well, Thursday sometime, depending on your time zone. And some folks got into it, but a lot of people haven't seen it until in the next hour. They're going to get a chance to jump in and play. But let's talk about a few of the things that happened in this, or a few things that you need to know. Let's put it that way. Things you need to know about this version of the game that kind of assume you have been playing already. First of all, we have done an XP reset. All the points that you had spent on different skills, we refunded them back to their individual wallets so that you can choose where to spend them again. Did I describe that right, Dave?
Yeah, no, I just visualized wallets, like you had a bunch of wallets with XP in them. But yeah, go ahead.
Well, we keep the different types of XP separate. Combat is separate from mineralogy, from mining is separate from botany, from picking on small plants and things like that. Yeah, you get XP and they're all different XP. So we refunded them all back to their types. The numbers will be really big again on the left, and you can spend them again for a fresh chance.
Yep.
Now, I had a question about this. We're not intending to supply them with a button that they can press to always refund them, right? That's not something that. No. Okay. All right. Just checking. I didn't think so. That didn't make sense.
Nope.
Okay. So your skill nodes are unlearned. You may need to go back in and learn some of them again. Not hard. Flora reset. Okay. If you planted a flower garden, I'm sorry, yours got reset. But that's because we made so many changes to how flora works that we had to redo the whole thing. And we had to redeploy the flowers again, or flora again. Wiped it all in the world, stuck it, regenerated where they're growing. Is some of the changes player facing? What did we change about the flora?
Flora, a ton of stuff. It's all down at the towards the bottom in all those miscellaneous notes. There's a bunch of stuff in there about flora, and that's why we had to The reason why we have to change flora is because all of the data, remember we kept telling you like every plant and every rock and everything like that is thinking. That's because all of the guts of what makes a tree is in the tree. So when we place the trees in the world and then we change the data for the trees, we have to rip all the trees out and put new ones down. So we can't just percolate it across. It's got to be, we have to replace its brain, basically.
Shoot, I was hoping all the babies would be born with a new brain and that eventually the old ones would die out.
That is actually correct, except that we don't have plant death yet. That's still coming.
Okay, that's cool though. That is cool. Now some of the plants have collision detection, don't they?
Yeah.
Is that new in this update?
Yeah, we turned it off a long time ago. But yeah, bushes, basically everything except for flowers and
Mushrooms.
I don't remember whether logs have colliders or not, but almost everything else has colliders now. So bushes, trees, thickets, all that stuff, they all have colliders.
This means if you put a big hedge around your house, it's going to behave differently now. Keep that in mind.
True.
Anything else that you want to say about Flora Reset?
No, I mean, most of it is it's more intuitive. I think the only thing that's still a little bit not where we want to end up with is when you harvest bushes, it right now it shrinks when you harvest it. What it's supposed to do is you're supposed to take a clipping off of it, and it's supposed to obviously be a clipping, but we haven't done the art yet. So right now, to simulate clipping, we shrink the bush, okay, and then the bush stays shrunk until it grows enough it can be harvested again. This has a side effect, which is that when you go and collect a bush, when you harvest a bush, it stays in that place. And I'm not particularly fond of the fact that you can then sort of memorize your area and just do laps, to find stuff. That's not really what we want. So there's another step coming, but that's the way it is right now.
Now, in real life, if you've got an orchard planted, you can go around in a circle each day and pick all your fruit. Come back the next day. You remember where all your trees are.
Yeah.
That's how it works IRL.
Well, I mean, yeah, for gardens and orchards and stuff like that, yeah, absolutely. And even in the wild, mostly it's going to stay kind of the same.
Yep. Have you not gone out truffle hunting and stuff?
No, we have some new spreading rules, and that's what I'm thinking forward towards. Okay. We're working on. I know this isn't this update, but we're working on planetary procedural generation, so that basically we can push a button to generate a world. And when we do that, we have to completely change the way that we spread bushes and flowers and trees and everything, so that when the trees grow, they kind of get thicker and the bushes stay out towards the edge and the mushrooms and the logs fall where the forests are thicker and so on and so forth. And so we're putting all that stuff together, and because we're working on it, that's what I'm thinking about. But so
that makes sense.
Where we're going will be different than what it is now, but it will be similar.
Okay. Now let's shift from flora to humans. All right. Soft grouping. Now, if you're near someone else. Oh, no. Don't harvest a plant. Oh, did I say that? Okay, yeah. When you have a tool equipped and someone in the same area also has that same tool equipped, which I think it should be a little bit different, but I think any tool category, like I think if they have two different weapons, they should still soft group, but whatever. Never mind. Don't listen to me. You receive a small bonus of XP whenever you're using that tool. So, for example, let's say you're paving a road and someone else is paving the other side of that road. You're going to meet in the middle. Instead of I get my XP and they get their XP, we each get our XP plus a little bonus. Am I right?
Yeah.
And it's to encourage people working together. No?
Yeah. And you totally said it right, but I'm going to clarify anyway.
Perfect.
People have a natural tendency to say, oh, well, if I have a friend who hasn't started, then they can just kind of hang out near me and they'll get extra XP for me doing stuff. Nope, that's not how it works. So you get a bonus if you're doing stuff, but you don't get anything if you're just standing there, if that makes sense.
Yep.
A lot of other games have done it a different way, but we're not doing it that way. So so it's an active thing. When you're actively doing it and there's people in the area doing it, then it works. And that does not apply to combat. Combat has sharing rules that are done differently than that we're doing with soft group, and it's already built into the combat model, so it's not that's not the same thing. But for everything else, yeah, soft grouping is in.
Okay. And one of the nice things about this is not only does it reward people for working together, but it doesn't reward someone for just standing by next to you telling you how you're doing it wrong. I like that.
Right.
Okay. All right. This is great. This is great. Loot sharing. Let's say you are in combat. And let's say together you kill the horror, for example. Those are a pain in the neck. Let's say you do that. Now, whatever loot the creature drops after being destroyed will be shared with the people on the creature's current aggro list, right? So does that mean if there are 3 of you fighting, one of you gets killed and is lying there and is waiting to be rezzed, and then you kill the horror, and then you res your friend, do they get any of it? Or did they drop off the aggro list when they died?
Yeah, no, they don't drop off the aggro list when they died. In fact, you can actually, we kind of change stuff. You used to drop off the aggro list when you died, but you don't anymore. In fact, even if you respawned all the way back at camp and we're running back to the combat, as long as the creature's aggro list hasn't cleared, you'll still be on there. So
unless you're on a different, unless you leave the planet for some reason.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Unless you leave the planet for some reason. If you leave the planet.
Oh yeah, you leave. If you leave the space zone or the planetary zone or whatever it is, then you're off the list. I think people would expect that. What was I going to say about the aggro? Anyway, your share of the XP is based upon how much aggro you generate. So if you are the person that's doing the most damage or the most healing or whatever it is, and you've aggroed the heck out of that creature, you're going to get the lion's share of the XP. So if somebody comes over and just pews a creature once, they're going to get very, very little. But if they're participatory in the combat and making an impact, then they'll get more XP. And that's true of the loot sharing too, because the loot sharing is done the same way that the XP splits are done.
Okay, I wondered that.
Yeah, so it's a little bit different. Like this, there's a couple things about that I wasn't real clear on in the notes. So let me try to explain. First of all, if you're not on a creature's aggro list, you'll never see the loot. So if the creature drops loot, the only people that are going to see it are the people that are entitled to that loot share. So you're not going to have trollish folks running through and grabbing the loot and stuff. That doesn't happen. And then the second thing is that when somebody does grab the loot, it's going to auto split between everybody at that moment. So you'll see dubers split out and go to all the different players that are getting rewarded. And then when you get the split, let's say that I don't know. Let's say there was 6 people fighting, and let's do it easier now. Let's say that there was 4 people fighting, right? And you were going to get, I don't know, 6 loot, whatever it is, generic loot. You're going to get meat. You're going to get 6 pieces of meat. Well, there's 4 of you there, so clearly that's going to be not an even split. But if you do the math, it's a 1.5. So you get a 1.5. You get 1.5 pieces of meat, but we don't do decimal. So that means that when instead of getting 0.5 pieces of meat, you get a 50% chance of getting another one. So you might get, like everybody might get 2. everybody might get one. Like if it was a 0.5, everybody might get none. That kind of thing. So it works out so that stochastically it ends up being about the same amount of loot, but you get whole numbers and it splits out, and you'll never get less than one. Oh, that's not true. You'll get none sometimes, but in general, you won't get part of anything.
Okay. Let me throw one more wrinkle. There are 4 of you in the group. 3 of you are DPS and one's a healer and healing the others. He still gets on the aggro table, right? The healer still gets
absolutely.
on the aggro table.
Yeah, creatures hate it when you heal each other. Status removal, the heals, all that stuff counts for aggro. And of course, they won't get the healer won't get combat XP. They'll get medical XP, which is fixed in this update.
All right. We're not. Oh, well, great. That's great. Okay, good stuff. Player movement, sliding. Can you explain to them? First of all, if they're trying to slide on an ice lake, is anything different in this patch from last week?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. It felt the same to me yesterday.
I did dampen a physics parameter, but honestly, I can't tell any difference. You might, for those people that are trying to fling themselves across the continent, there might be a difference, but I haven't done that test to find out if there's a difference. There was a variable that was way out of whack, so I brought it back into scope.
Two of us were fighting creatures on a frozen lake in winter yesterday, and we were sliding across the ice deliberately while still firing John Woo style. Anyway, it was cool. In my mind, it was cool. I wasn't watching. So that part still felt the same. Yeah. Now tell them about movement that's not deliberate. Like you sliding, that's not deliberate. Where might you slide?
Yeah, the trick, what we're trying to achieve here is to make it completely intuitive. You go slower when you go up hills, you go faster when you go down hills. If you're on a really steep surface, you might slide instead of just sticking there. In fact, that's true now. So if you're on a real steep hill and you're trying to go up it, you're going to find yourself sliding back a lot, and that's intentional, because we want you to use grab packs and grab meshes and climbing. Climbing is in. We want it to be useful. So that's in there. So that's there. And then it's also kind of fun sometimes to just slide down a hill. And then we did a bunch of different parameters on the different materials in the game. So when you're running through grass, you run at a slower pace than when you're running on bare surfaces. But on the flip side, if you pave a road, you're actually increased in speed. So there's a reason to make roads now. You can go faster from point A to point B.
That's nice.
There's a couple other small things, like sand is slow, silt and gravel are kind of slippery. So when you dump your gravel down on the ground and you stand on it, you'll kind of drift a little bit when you're standing on it. I think that's most of it. Am I forgetting anything?
Just that some slopes that looked easier to climb are now harder to climb.
Yeah.
Be aware of that.
And we just adjusted it a little bit in the last playtest, because there was an issue where the stairs, which were at a 45 degree, we set it up so that the minimal slope that you would slide on was a 40-degree angle, but forgot about stairs, which are at 45. Or I think they're at 42.5 or what it is. So you go up the stairs and slide back down. So we just fixed that yesterday, but it'll be in the build that you're playing today. We'll fix it when we do an update. We're planning to do an update early next week that'll fix a bunch of these little things we found on Thursday, which is why we do Thursday update.
Okay, so known bugs, stairs are going to be slightly slipperier than they should be today only.
Yeah, I'll go so far as to say they're annoying right now.
Okay.
But you got grapples and grabs and jump around.
Yeah, don't forget your grappler. If you're starting to slide, do not forget your grappler. All right. Okay, next. We had harvesting updates, and this made me have to relearn my muscle memory for how to harvest, which is good. Um, the okay, flowers and logs are still harvested as they were. Even
Yeah.
with the beam, they cut out completely and they added to your backpack and they respawn somewhere else in the world or whatever.
Yep.
However, plants now used to be that you could hold your beam on a plant and it would sometimes get 2 or even 3 ticks of dubers that came out of it. And now it
Yeah.
sucks them all out in the first tick, right? So
Yes.
there's no reason to leave your beam extra long on a harvesting operation, right?
Not currently. No, that's correct.
Okay. Subject to change later, apparently. I'm hearing a subtext there.
Well,
That's okay.
the multiple harvest was actually really annoying because you couldn't tell when you were done. So we set it to 1 for now because that way, I mean, invisibly not knowing that you had 2 or 3 harvests or whatever, you just kept playing the beam, and then you were like, I don't know, is it not working or is it just nothing there? And we were like, okay, enough of that. that's not good gameplay. So what we want to do instead is we'll do 1 and done for the moment. When we get to the point where we can make, because right now we can't make the fruit and stuff disappear. It's there. It's a separate object. We just haven't hooked up the code to be able to do it. When we can set it up so that we can see that there's still something left to harvest, then we probably will go back to multiple.
I will point out that in real life, sometimes it's very hard to see that there's still fruit left on that tree. I mean, you'd think, I have a lemon tree. You'd think that the yellow lemons on the green tree would be easy to pick out. They're not. It's, yeah. But yeah, okay, this is good. I like it. And I do look forward to the point where you can see the fruit disappearing off the tree as you're picking it and stuff.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
Now, just to throw that out there, the planted stuff. So if you go out and plant, mushrooms or trees and stuff like that, you can get repeat harvests off of them. Just you'll still only harvest one time, one harvest at a time.
Yeah, and then I will give it time, and you can come back and get some more.
Yeah.
All right, and then you make a note in here that says if you want to get rid of a plant currently, you'll need to actually burn it because harvesting does not actually remove the roots of the plant or anything. Is that right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, we'll have a trial later and you'll be able to dig it up, but right now it's burn it or don't.
Some people have very strong feelings on where plants should and should not be. So I hear you guys. There's a way to get rid of one. Xylo Slicer had some updates. It now has 3 modes of use: logging, seed planting, and pruning. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Some of you don't even know this because you've never equipped a Xylo Slicer.
That's true. So if you have a Xylo Slicer, the existing modes are planting trees and logging. So everybody knows those. There's a 3rd mode now, and if you go to that 3rd mode, it's pruning, and you can switch between grow and prune. And pruning, when you're in grow mode and you use the left mouse button to fire the beam at the tree, you're going to grow the tree up, kind of like what you could do with the helix, but can't do anymore. And if you're in prune mode, then you can actually make the tree shrink. But you can only do that. You can only make trees shrink on your homestead. You can't do that out in the wild. You can make trees out in the wild grow, but you can only make them shrink on your homestead. And then there's a E mode, E special on the Xylo Slicer when you're in that mode that allows you to stunt a tree if it's on your homestead. And by stunt, what it means is it won't grow anymore. It'll just stay at that size.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, bonsai, kind of. Yeah. So you can basically say, oh, I want I want that tree to be that size and no bigger. So
Okay.
I'll stunt it, and everything's fine. And if you want it to not be stunted in the future, you can either hit the stunt again or just grow it to whatever size you want and stunt it again. So you can manicure your garden is what I'm trying.
Nice, nice. All the landscape artists are going to appreciate this. Okay. Next, yep, got all that. Forestry and farming. Also, by the way, the Xylo Slicer tool now has audio, which it did not have before.
Yay.
Thank you, Kurt. Yeah. Okay, forestry and farming. Some new skill nodes have been added to the forestry skill tree, and a few nodes have been moved.
Yeah.
You'll see that because all the XP was refunded, and you'll have to go redo it anyway. So, after you earn some of the growth speed ups, you can also unlock stunting and pruning that we just talked about.
Right.
Anything else about forestry and farming you're remembering off the top of your head that you want to talk to them about?
Well, we slowed the growth rate of trees down a lot because there was absolutely no reason to use the growth ability or the growth beacons, the growth pods. So what we did was we slowed the trees way down, and then now using those modes actually is useful. Those growth beacons, the growth pods, are in the farming tree now instead of the forestry tree.
That makes sense. Good. Okay. All right. All right. Also, crafting and cooking. So they've been separated from each other.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. Okay. If you use the stove to make items on the cooking tree, it generates cooking XP.
Yeah.
If you use the stove to make things on the crafting tree, it makes crafting XP. Is that what I'm hearing?
Most of the crafting stuff is not on the stove. The stove is pretty much just
oil and
stuff.
plastic, though. Oil and plastic might be.
I think they're still on the refinery table. Yeah, they're on the refinery table. So yeah, most of the stuff that you're going to get through the crafting table is either going to be on the tool maker, the refiner, or the lathe.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. And you can't spend cooking XP on the crafting skills.
Not
you have
anymore.
To go craft things. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what
we unlocked a bunch of the. We tried to unlock some recipes that were useful for people that didn't want to touch the cooking tree. They just want to earn like crafting XP. So you can make like light and dark wood planks and oil and plastic, and there's some blocks that you can make. I can't remember exactly which ones.
And the little camp starter tent things. What do you call those?
The camp kits?
Camp kits. Yeah. You can make those.
Yeah.
Don't laugh at me.
I'm laughing with you.
Artisan crafting skill tree is now just crafting skill tree. And you can unlock architect, civil engineer, refining, tool making, weaponsmithing from that crafting tree.
Yeah.
And then those have their own trees that they then go to.
That's right.
Okay, and there's some beginning stuff to work with. Yeah. Oil and plastic recipes are unlocked by default now.
Right.
That's modern world we live in. Makes sense.
Well, it's no fun having to figure out that you have to unlock the refining tree and this other tree that was in there in order to be able to get the plastic. It's no wonder people couldn't find it. So that was annoying. We made it an easy unlock now, so everybody gets it, and that hopefully that trouble goes away.
Yeah. Okay. Also, when you when you earn XP, a number goes up on the screen that says 3 XP or whatever. But now those come in 2 colors. So if it's white, it's ordinary earning of XP. But if it's a light blue color, that now says you just discovered something new and you're getting bonus XP for the discovery separate from XP for the use of the skill. Am I saying it correctly?
Yeah, except I don't think XP is white, but yeah. I think normal XP is a different color. But yeah.
Right. Well,
But yes,
okay.
the Discovery Slug is light blue for sure.
Okay. So that tells you, oh, I've never encountered this before on this character. Very cool. All right. Also healing. We mentioned this briefly earlier when we talked about soft grouping and combat, but healing gives you medical XP instead of combat XP.
Yay.
So,
it was supposed to last update. Oops.
Oops. Okay. Don't say that. But it allows you to work up to your mass heal and surge special, etc. And yeah. And yes, you will generate creature aggro, so keep that in mind. But you really want that. I would argue you want that. Okay. And the more aggro you create, the more medical XP you generate. Nice. If you don't want medical XP, if you want combat XP, switch your tool, bro. You got 4 slots. Use them. Okay. But if you pull too much aggro, you will be eaten. There's that. Okay, hang on. My computer's locking up.
Yeah, some good stuff down there in those miscellaneous lists.
Sorry, my computer locked up for a second, so just keep talking so you don't have dead air. I can't see or move anything.
Yeah, well, I was watching the chat. And I haven't seen any questions or anything yet. The only question I liked was, are we not? Can we not harvest people now, or can we not harvest people yet? And I just want to say that currently we don't have any plans of putting Soylent Green in the game. Currently.
Currently. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, everything is locked up and frozen on my computer at the moment, unfortunately.
Okay. Well,
we'll
let me
just
pull up
keep going. Crafting.
No, I'll pull up the list. Go ahead.
Crafting's been altered now so that more complex recipes reward greater amounts of XP in the same way that shooting a normal creature is less XP than shooting or killing a big scary one with a red name, for example. So that makes sense.
This is a baby fix, and the baby fix is that like myself included, I was watching people play, and myself included, everybody was just jamming through, earning as much crafting XP as they could by doing the one ingredient recipe. Because it's easier and faster. So I was like, oh, that makes sense. And I just went back and did a sweep and made it so that you're rewarded if you get bonus XP for doing the 2 and 3 ingredient recipes. Because if you're going to take the time to do the extra clicks, why not? Plus, there's extra stuff you have to gather and all that other stuff. They are genuinely harder. So we're rewarding people that way.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And everything's working on my computer again. So I'm happy. Also, I want to just say thank you for a moment to Thomas and Larrick. Thomas is running the stream engineering. Larrick is playing the game for us. So there's some visual happening up on the screen while the 2 talking heads are talking to each other. You guys are deeply appreciated. Thank you for getting up on a Saturday morning or a Saturday evening and helping us out. It's appreciated. And thank you, Dave, for coming also. All right, so anti-gravium blocks are now available to create for the Instaformer on the lathe, of course. They don't have those properties yet, so they're not going to float up into the sky or cause your house to become unmoored and float away yet. But they're a new look to experiment with.
Yeah.
Do you want to say anything to them about what they might do in the future?
I mean, I've talked about it before. It's not a secret. We eventually, when you put the right now, when you place Instaformer blocks in the air, they just stay there. There will come a day when they don't. They fall. And if you want them to stay in the air, you'll need to support them with anti-gravium block. And then there's gameplay that we want to do later on, and I'm not sure when we're going to get to it, where we not only have anti-gravium, but we also have gravium, so that you can have blocks that attract you to them, so that when you do space builds and everything like that, you can make, like you can make a surface where you actually stick to it and then you can walk on it. And in my head, I have this like Escher-like gameplay that I want to mess with, where there's anti-gravium blocks and null fields between them and stuff. But that's down the line. That's down the line.
Okay. I'm also picturing that someday when we can craft grav sleds, that they will require a little bit of anti-gravium in order to reduce their weight and help them move across the terrain with less friction and such. This is in my mind. I don't know. I have never heard you talk about crafting grav sleds in any of the meetings I've attended, so I made that up myself.
I am very carefully not talking about vehicles at the moment.
Okay. Okay. All right. We've added thickets to the game. These are very large bushes and they can't be harvested. If you don't like them, you'll need to burn them out. Luckily, many of you enjoy burning out bushes and trees, as far as I could tell. Unfortunately, if these bushes are closely located next to trees, the trees have a good chance of catching fire if you go to burn them down. Is there anything else to say about these? They're there to annoy you, so you will burn them out.
Well, yeah. Also, I mean, one of the things that we really like, we put them in there so that it was a traversal challenge, right?
Yes.
You either have to hop over them or grapple over the top of it, grapple a tree and get over the top of it or whatever. But they're also aesthetically kind of nice. The bushes and the thickets and everything like that really change the look of the environment. And like I said, the spreading routines and stuff that we're working on now, it'll be significantly different again. So yeah, we're pretty happy with how they turned out and the ways that we're going to get to use them going forward. Man, I really like that spaceship Bobo's working on. That's cool.
Yeah.
I did not know it had a nice interior like that. That's cool. Really cool. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
We have to give him anti-gravium or something. I don't know. Spacium, whatever we got.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. You can now collect antimatter gas, by the way, and convert it to antimatter via the refining station.
Which can then be converted into anti-gravium. But yeah.
That's from alien mushrooms, right? Or where else can you get antimatter gas? From the F1 menu, go read it. Is that what you?
No, I don't think it's in the F1 menu, and I'd have to go look again to find out which things actually drop antimatter gas. I don't remember right off the bat.
All right.
It's out there.
Okay.
Yeah. It'll be more prevalent when we have gas clouds in the game. Antimatter gas will be one of the things that you can harvest in space.
Okay, good. All right. Something else to poke Nathaniel about. Gas clouds in space. Seems like something he would make. All right, let's see here. Oil can be created using any sedimentary rock now, not just shale. Yeah, I made some the other day with a non-shale, and it made me smile.
Yeah, I did a little research, and I found out that it's not as efficient as shale in the real world, but you can do it with a lot of other ones. So we broadened that recipe because we made shale a lot harder to find when we changed the worlds recently in the last update. And that made it necessary to broaden the recipe, and it works in the real world, so it's all good.
Excellent. I don't always have to be efficient, but yeah, nice. Clay recipes have been simplified. Clay ore is removed from the game. You can change chalky or laterite soils to clay. You can now make ceramics directly from clay. I think of banana plasters, not ceramics, when I see clay.
Yeah, but we don't. But you don't need the clay anymore. So.
Okay. All right. I have old info stuck in my head.
Yeah,
But
it's a
at some
health
point in my
booster
life.
now, and it's not a banana plaster, and it doesn't require clay.
Okay. Until boxes and high DR creatures damage resist. Is that what that means? Damage rating?
Danger rating. DR is
Danger
danger
rating.
rating.
Okay. So until bosses and high danger rating creatures are given more abilities to make them harder to cheese with terrain, we are temporarily reducing the XP you get for defeating them. They're still worth more than low DR creatures, of course. Yeah, they sometimes get confused and then they become a bit of a pincushion. But
Well, I mean,
yeah.
everybody knows it. Everybody that's playing's already got their combat tree maxed out because they went and killed like a couple of boss monsters that they dug a hole for, and then the boss fell in there and then they killed it. I'm like, yay, good for you, but that shouldn't be worth that much XP. So we're just dropping it temporarily until they can do nasty things like teleport or jump or things like that. And when we get to that, then we'll increase their. Well, they'll be more dangerous, and when they're more dangerous, we'll increase the XP. XP is always supposed to be about risk versus reward, right? If there's no risk, you shouldn't get any XP. If there's no, especially with combat, specifically with combat. So if you're not doing something that you're running the risk of dying, then how do you get XP from it? So that's why we changed it, and we'll change it back later on.
All right. Okay. Omni Blaster audio has been improved. I guess I should listen more.
And it's going to be improved again.
Oh, yay. Okay. F1's help screens have been updated so they are current. Yay.
Yeah.
Metal alloys are now added to the resources screen. Yay. That's a screen one visits regularly, so very helpful. I appreciate that screen. The UI elements on the crafting screen have been fixed, so PQRV stats are now displayed properly. Very good.
Yeah,
and sorry?
No, I just said it was a little annoying visual bug, so we got rid of it.
Oh, yay. Okay. And the Helix no longer has the force growth thing for trees. I love that, though.
Which we anguished about a little bit. We were like, oh, I really like the idea that the Helix can do, can force grow trees. It's unique. I don't know any other games that can do that. But then we talked about it for a while and we went, well, it fits better with the Xylo Slicer, and we have a lot of plans for the medical skill tree already. So we swapped it.
What about a tree that's burning? Can the Helix help it at all?
I don't think so, no. You got to cool it off. If it's burning, you got to cool it off. You got to put out the fire. Healing it just makes it burn longer. What kind of sick bastard are you?
Okay. I think we answered that. All right. So things in the test coming up in 15 minutes that you would like them to test. Is there anything that we want them to test? One thing comes to my mind.
Yeah, what's that?
Group combat and the XP.
We found a bug internally where if people are soft grouping, just near each other, then when they're fighting, there seems to be a bug where the combat XP gets reset to null. We've already fixed it internally. We're not sure it's in the version that you're playing. Although if it's not in the version that you're playing, we don't know why. So it's probably in the version you're playing. And we're going to do an update early next week to solve that. But since most of you already have your combat XP maxed out because of the stuff I was talking about earlier, it's probably not going to be a big deal for you. But for new players, you might notice it, and we'll get it fixed real quick. Like I said, we already have it fixed internally. We just have to get it published.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Any questions from the chat now? Fruit roll-ups now? Yeah, exactly. Okay, good, especially non-flying ones were very cheeseful. Okay, make building fortresses less viable. Yeah. Is the Omni Blaster still going to be phased out? Omni Blaster is not going to be phased out, right? It's just going to be a beginnery weapon at some point, or it's just going to be a weapon.
Which? Oh, the Omni Blaster?
Yeah. Is that going to be phased out entirely?
It is. I don't know when that's going to happen. We have some weapons that we want to work on in the near future. Like, for instance, we are going to get a melee weapon in sometime in the near future. But when we do the melee stuff, it's probably going to take a bit of focus to make it work out the way we want it to, which means we're probably not going to do a lot of other work on other weapons. But Avi has gone through and done a huge amount of work on restructuring the way weapons are made so that we can do them really rapidly, which means that yours truly is going to be doing a lot of data monkey work real soon on making weapons and abilities and things like that. When we get to that, we're probably going to, eventually, we're going to migrate some of the features that you're used to from the existing weapons into other weapons. Like we might not have the Omni Blaster, we might not have the companion orbs or the gravity gun, but we'll have other weapons that do some of those same functionalities. So you'll see those appear. We don't like to throw things. And so we'll end up using most of that functionality again. It might look a little different, but it'll play very similar.
Okay. Rod, by the way, said if you run into the combat XP problem, if you get in a fight and you notice your XP gets zeroed out, he says if you log out and log back in, it will allow you to resume gaining XP again in combat. So that's a good fix to know about. You only need it for today. Don't even remember this after today. Okay. And Lash Trail asks, what has Raph been cooking up? Any good recipes? And he asked that because last night Raph was on the forums.
I read it.
Yeah, you saw that too. Okay.
Yeah, I read it.
I don't know.
Yeah, no,
I assume he was staying up late helping. He probably was hungry and he started working on cooking. I don't know. But no,
Raph and I have been talking about cooking a lot recently because, I mean, obviously we don't want it to just be, yay, 14 versions of a hamburger patty. You know, like there needs to be reasons for making stuff. So we've been talking about expanding it out greatly and making all kinds of different things that do lots of different things. And I got my near future is going to be busy with a bunch of retooling of data for the crafting stuff and the weapons. And Raph goes, "You want me to just run with cooking?" And I'm like, "Go, do it." He's like, "Yeah, I'm on it." So he's basically making. I don't know what he's making. He's making a very cool thing for cooking, and we'll see it next week or so. Well, you guys won't see it for a while, but I'll see it next week or so.
Yay, I'm looking forward to it. Definitely. Yeah. He's stirring the cauldron. Yeah, nice. Okay, let me give a few announcements for things coming up this week while you guys think of more questions to put into chat. Hint, hint. Thursday, we have another dev interview. If you didn't catch last Thursday's, it was with my boss, President Eric Goldberg. That was fun. I enjoyed that a lot. Some of you wouldn't enjoy interviewing your boss on live stream. I enjoyed interviewing mine. I guess I got lucky. Next Thursday, we're going to get a really special opportunity here. We used all of our peer pressure, and we have convinced Ninja Nina to come on the show. First of all, it is hard to talk her into that. It is, yeah. Second of all, if you have worked with her at all, you realize she can fix almost anything. She's amazing. She holds up 3/4 of the sky here at Playable Worlds. It's amazing what she gets done. By the way, if you see the scheduler up in the corner, it has the wrong job title for her because she just got a promotion. She deserves it. Seriously. Anyway, so more on that later. Come on Thursday, meet Ninja Nina. She is badass. She is badass. You will appreciate her in all the best ways. All right. Yay. Hype for Nina. Then the following week, we're going to do another coffee with type of dev stream. It's coffee with the customer service group. We don't have a customer service group. What we have are volunteers within the company who are stepping in to be customer service until we get one. So this will be a lot of fun also. That's a week from Thursday, but Thursday, 9 a.m. Pacific, come and join us for a dev interview with Ninja Nina. Yeah, fun stuff. Actually, Lyric Dax is going to help me interview her. We're dragging him on camera also to help with that. That's fun. Thank you, Lyric. What can we expect in the next patch after the one that we're working on now for next time? Do you want to leak one thing from it? You can
There's
leak one
only
thing
one
from it.
big thing.
Well, there's nothing smaller than that somewhere in a corner. Let's hold off on that.
Yeah, no, it's the one really big thing that we're working on. But let's see, smaller stuff. Yeah, well, we're doing a bunch of the underpinning stuff for the to make the PQRV stats actually useful. And the PQRV stats, by that what I mean is when you get something that has specific stats and you choose your ingredients, and then that creates the homogenized stat or the combined stats for the thing that you're making. Those stats will actually matter, so that when you go out and get, you're getting tier 1 metals and you're choosing between iron and tin and gold and things like that, it actually matters which ones you choose. And that end product will be, it'll be differentiated, which means that you'll have a lot of reasons to actually go out and do those different craftings and find the different resources. Now, will that all be in for the next update? I don't think so. I think that we're going to get a lot of the underpinning stuff done, and we'll start to do some of the data massaging that makes it work. But we only have about a week and a half left in the current sprint before we have to start locking things down, because it takes us about a week. Once we go into, just so you know, when we go into feature freeze for an update, then that we have about 3 days of debugging and then a couple of days of migrating to the different servers and stuff like that. So when we release a build to you, it has already been locked to us for over a week. So when we're getting ready for the next update, it's there. Yeah. So we have about a week and a half work left to do on the next update. And it's, I don't think we're going to get all of that underpinning stuff done, but it'll be in the next update after that.
Okay. All right. Well, we're making progress.
Yeah.
Don't tell them the big thing though. Okay.
I think they already know, but sure.
All right. Anything else? Questions? Let's see. Just a reminder, we are aiming for 24/7, which we're calling preview, this summer. So we're busting our butts right now, guys.
Yeah.
It needs a few things to get there, but we've identified them. They're on a list. They're mapped out. They're assigned to people, and elves and dwarves are working as fast as they can in the back. They're not really elves or dwarves, but they're trying hard. Okay. Implementing Rick's orchids. Thomas, I love that thing. Okay, let's see. You might have mentioned a way to place the large foliage that has to be burned to be removed. Those big
The
hedges,
thicket?
those
Yeah.
the thickets can't be placed yet? No.
Not yet.
You can substitute other plants for those though, and that have collision detection, no?
Substitute? What do you mean by that?
Yeah, if you wanted to plant something that has collision detection as a hedge around your property, could you do?
Yeah, you could totally do that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but the thickets currently cannot be harvested because we don't want you to just hit a thicket with the harvester and it's small and now you can walk over it. Kind of defeats the whole purpose of having to run around it. So that it currently can't be harvested. I don't think that's a permanent thing, but it is with the way it is right now.
All right. All right. So the next thing coming up is a play test in 2 minutes. In fact, if I know Rod, the servers are probably up right now. I mean, they're obviously up because Lyric is playing in front of you, but they're probably also unlocked for everyone to play. If you are not in the play test, if you want to play this game and you are not in the play test, there are 3 ways you can get in. You can go to Kickstarter, join our, sign up for a late pledge. That's an option. Here, let me paste it into chat while we're talking. I'm going to place here. Okay, that's one way. Another way, and these are pretty fast. They take like roughly a week to do it. Here's another way. You can go to starsreach.com where we have a store. I linked the store in chat. You could buy from that. That's basically the same as the late harvest, but it gives you a couple more payment options, including, for example, you can pay over time if you want to buy something that's more money than you have currently sitting in your wallet. Now, don't spend more money than you can afford, but there you go. Or something that might be convenient for some of y'all. And then the third way to do this, one moment while I grab a link. Ultima. I shouldn't speak weird languages.
The test is on.
All right, I can't find it. Go to starsreach.com in the upper right corner. Mine's screwed up because I have all this dev crap in here for updating the website. Go to the upper right corner and register for an account, and that puts you on a waiting list to get in. It's a little bit slower. It can be significantly slower. Depends. Might be a month, but they'll grab your name and put you in there without spending any money, and you can help play test for free. So those are 3 options. Now, if you get accepted, watch for an email that comes from firstlook.gg, and that will help you. That will hook you up. You sync your Steam account with it and your Discord, and then it applies a key to your Steam account directly. And then it gives you all the right permissions in Discord, so you can blah, 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 and you automatically, magically up and running. So, again, thank you to Thomas, Lyric Dax, Dave Georgeson for getting up on Saturday and helping us with the live stream. Now, go on out there and enjoy Better Homes and Gardens.